And welcome back to the E-Arsenal podcast. I thought I'd just mix the introduction up a little bit. So I apologise, I probably won't do it ever again. We've kind of get used to coming to you and, saying another win. I think that's 5 consecutive wins in a row. Starting to seem our moanings about Mr. Wenger looking quite shallow and, out of place, but nevertheless, we all carry on in shame. Once again, to discuss everything Arsenal, with us is Mr. Paul Pradella.
Good evening, Mr. Leverett.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. All good. Like you say, I don't think I'm going to have much to moan about this week, but I'm sure we'll find something.
You'll notice, listeners, that our longer podcasts either when we've won a game that we just did not expect to win, i.e. last week, and when we've got more to say and just moan about generally. So as you can see, this is probably going to be a shorter podcast than normal, but we'll see how it goes. No Jack this week. He's convalescing. Poor lamb, bless him. I feel like getting the violins out.
And it will be shorter because there's no one to rant, Neil, is there?
That is true. So maybe I don't know. We can find something for you to get angry about.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Yes, Spurs perhaps, but.
Yeah, there you go. Done it already.
There we go. So, Swansea game. I mean, going away to the Liberty Stadium in the past it's a particularly difficult game. I think you'll agree. I think all of you listening out there will agree. I had it down as a 2-0 this year to us, mainly because Gomez can't hit a barn door with a banjo, as we'll get onto in a little bit. And Swansea started really well, but unfortunately their draw at Stamford Bridge doesn't really hold much credit now. It looked a really incredible, very good result at the start of the season, first game, but the problems Chelsea have got right now, it doesn't really look particularly clever, and it doesn't make us losing at Stamford Bridge particularly clever either, but that's another issue. So is it a sign of our progression? This is what I'm going to ask you. Is it a sign of our progression as a club, as a team, or a Swansea in a bad patch at the moment? What do you think?
I think it's a mixture of the two. I mean, you look at I think we said last week, you look at Swansea's first few games of the season. I mean, Gomez was scoring week in, week out.
He scored every game at the start of the season.
And they have got some dangerous players, Jefferson Montero for example, and Ayew on the other wing, and with Sigurdsson in the middle. I mean, they've got players that can hurt you, and like you say, in the past it's been a difficult place to go. I do think it's a combination. I don't think that we said last week they haven't been as good the last few weeks. We have progressed. I think it's more, Neil, I think Jack said it last week, we seem to have finally developed an ability to win when we're not playing that well, which I think is key if we're going to stay where we are in the title and challenge for the league.
Do you think that's a myth though?
I think we weren't great the first half. I don't think we were particularly great the second half either, but we got the goals when we needed to, and the scoreline is a bit flattering in the end. I think Gary Monk said that after the game, and he's not far off the mark saying that. We did all right. We did what we had to do. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't a vintage Arsenal performance. It wasn't like how we played against Man United or anything like that. But we did the job. And as fans, what more can we expect, really? What do you think? What do you make of it?
Well, I've got to put my hands up and say I have not seen the game yet. Highlights, unfortunately. But I have seen Gomez's miss. And, at 0-0, that goes in. It's a totally different game.
It is.
And some of the angles I've seen of it, it's like it comes to him and he just shanks it and just scuffs his shot. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, 1-0. It was quite a tight first half. I was following it by the sounds of it, and then we survived the first half, and then, as I expected we would do, we pushed on in the second half and put them to the sword. Perhaps not put them to the sword, that's the wrong phrase, but certainly do enough to beat them, and that's what we did. And it's great to see Giroud score again.
Yeah.
As a natural starter.
I think, Neil, to be honest, I think if we had gone 1-0 down, I think we would have woken up a bit. We have seen that in some games this season. Not us go behind and then wake up from it, but we have seen like a more steely Arsenal at times, haven't we? And I think, I think where we have progressed is defensively this year. I mean, I don't want to kind of retread old ground because we've spoken about him for the last 2 podcasts, but Hector Bellerin again. I don't know if you've seen the challenge he made. I can't even think who it was now, but they were through on goal.
Was it Montero on the left?
Could have been. It might have been Gomez actually. He was through on goal. Went round Czech, and just the speed of Bellerin to get back, and he made a really crucial tackle. I just think with the emergence of him and the development of Monreal, which, like I say, we won't go over because we've already discussed that. And listeners, if you want to hear what we've said, it is on the previous 2 episodes of the podcast.
Almost exclusively, yeah.
Almost exclusively, yeah. But again, I just think as a unit we look more solid defensively. I think it goes back again to the emergence of Coquelin in the team last year and the addition of Czech in between the sticks. Just feel a lot more confident. I don't feel like we're as fragile as we used to be. Is that a sentiment that you'd agree with, Neil, or?
I don't know yet. There seems to be, Mertesacker came back in at the weekend, and the partnership with Koscielny, it used to be a very strong partnership, reliable. One's more height and physicality, and one's more just a little bit pace and power. And that's Koscielny I'm referring to there, certainly in the latter example. And I don't know. I'm not going to go as far as saying as Mertesacker has improved, but
I think we've improved around him.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, I mean, if we're going to talk about Mertesacker, Neil, I mean, we don't need to touch on it much, but the Carling Cup game against Sheffield Wednesday, he just did not look bothered. And
I don't think the whole team looked a little unbothered, and frankly, I don't want to say it, but I'm glad they weren't bothered because I could care less really about the cup.
No,
and some people have criticised me and said, that's just terrible, terrible attitude. And I was talking yesterday with a couple of friends, basically saying, what's the point of being in the Champions League? We can't win it. I said, well, that's ridiculous. Why are you saying? Well, you can't win the league either. If you're saying, well, if you haven't got the squad to win the Champions League, you haven't got the squad to win the league. I say, well, it's 2 different matters, and we'd have to agree to disagree, so to speak. It's. Go on.
But I would agree with you there, Neil. It is a completely different task winning the Champions League compared to the league. There's different things required. You've got a different style of opposition. There's a whole host of factors to take into account. I think I agree with you. Couldn't give a monkeys about the Carling Cup or whatever it's called now, the Mickey Mouse Cup. We as Arsenal fans are setting our sights higher, and I think rightfully so. Now, we're in a very strong position in the league at the moment, and I want to touch on injuries with you anyway. and this is going to tie into what I'm saying, because I did mention last week on the podcast my concerns about injuries, and are we 1 or 2 injuries away from potentially a crisis? Now, obviously the injuries to Ox and Theo are kind of the only bit of the result against Sheffield Wednesday that I was really that bothered about, and possibly actually this could be what I moan about this week. But we are looking a bit threadbare. We're starting to, and Wenger tells us that we'll have Ox back after the international break, and Ramsey will be back. I'm just concerned because we've heard this before, haven't we? It is a slight pull, and it ends up being about 4 months.
Look who's doing the impression now.
Yeah,
I thought I'd say.
I just thought I'd get in there first. But I was just, you know what, Neil? I was so infuriated with that. In my mind, Ox looked knackered when he walked onto the pitch, and I think he came off at the weekend before that, and he looked tired then.
Okay, now, this is something we should bring this up, basically. For those of you who aren't aware, probably more so with Theo, when Ox got injured, Oxlade-Chamberlain got injured, Theo Walcott was, he didn't warm up. He was hurried to basically get on, and within 7 minutes of coming on, he was injured because he didn't warm up, essentially.
But the thing is, Neil,
we don't care about the Capital One Cup, but it's no reason to mistreat your players. Really, that's just sloppy.
It's just criminal. I mean, the thing is, Theo went to warm up, and Wenger called him back and said, "Get on now." You're 3 minutes into the game. We're against Sheffield Wednesday. All credit to them. They turned up and they played really well, and they have been playing well in recent weeks. But I can't understand how you'd make that big. It's a schoolboy error. It's such a massive error to make. And I know Campbell did well at the weekend and he scored a goal. But I don't think he's going to do well against Bayern on Wednesday. I just can't see it, and he's going to start by the looks of it, I imagine. Well, he has to start. I think the only other option is he puts Flamini in defensive mid and moves Cazorla further forward.
Well, I think Wenger's already said he doesn't want to waste Santi in a wide area, though. Yeah. Well, that's a fair point, but I just look at our subs bench now, and it's quite worrying. And the fact that we're continuing to win, I mean, if you look at our injuries in midfield alone, Wilshere, Welbeck, Arteta, Ramsey, Ox, Theo, 6 players. We're still getting the results at the moment with those players out. And 4 of those 6 players have been out for the last few weeks. So, 3 of them have been out most of the season. But it's just when we've got, if we qualify for the Champions League and then our schedule of games becomes more intensified, we're going to need that squad. You're bringing me on to my next point, actually. We'll come back to the Swansea game in a little bit. There's a few things I want to just cover. So the Bayern game in Munich, obviously on Wednesday, and Bavaria. Lovely part of the world. Been over there a couple of times. Slightly digressing, but so we go over there with probably, I don't know. We've been to Bayern before and kept a clean sheet and scored twice. So I think we'll be a slightly different team. Although, if anything, I don't know. It's probably about the same in terms of quality, and they're a better form side, or they were before they came to the Emirates. What concerns me, Neil, about it is we have no one to bring on to change the game. Nobody. Well, I know. The point that I wouldn't want to make, really, is if we do... I want us to go over there, but I think beating Bayern would be potentially dangerous. I don't want us to beat Bayern. I think that's what I'm saying. I think because if we beat them, why is it going to be dangerous? Because if we win back-to-back games against them, okay, we would both have 6 points, so then the group is wide open again. But then we can't, Zagreb and Olympiacos. There is a very good possibility that all 4 teams will have 6 points.
Yeah.
With 4 games going, and I suppose in those terms it's not that dangerous. But if we win and Olympiacos win, then there'll be there's too many options for them to. Too many chances for us to be battling for qualification with 2nd or 3rd. So I think it's too risky.
I would argue though, Neil, we have spoken a lot about how much of a confidence team Arsenal have been over the past few seasons. The confidence boost the players would get from beating Bayern back-to-back games would be massive, and that arguably could spill over into our Premier League form.
Yeah, but I mean, perhaps we've seen how Jekyll and Hyde we can be, though. So yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I think perhaps if we did, I don't want us to be in the Europa League, but maybe we could play the 2nd string team. I don't necessarily think that's necessarily a good idea, because I don't think we'd have the players at the moment. If we've got 4 first team injuries, so who knows if we send out to Well,
we haven't, and another player I didn't even mention before was Rosicky as well, and he'd be the sort of person that would thrive in those sorts of games. Look,
if you could get fit, that's a very good point.
Well,
yeah.
This is the thing, and we've said before, in my mind, qualifying for the Europa League is the worst thing that can happen to us. We need to finish 2nd or 4th. I just think 3rd isn't an option. We even need to. I mean, look, getting another win against Bayern is going to be astronomically difficult, I would argue. I mean, they are not going to want to be beaten by us again. Really
too right.
Yeah, and for obvious reasons. But
wanting to beat us and beating us is another thing entirely.
It is. But I just think just the fact we have nobody to bring on to impact the game. If Wenger sends a team out and it's not working, he's got nothing to tinker with to try and pull a result out of the bag.
I think what's more concerning is is possible fatigue ahead of the derby on Sunday.
Well, there's that as well, because we are not going to see a lot of the ball. We're going to do a lot of chasing, and it is more tiring chasing the ball than having the ball.
Absolutely.
It's a well-known fact.
It's medically proven, yeah.
Well, is it a worry then? Because, I mean, I was a bit pessimistic last week, and I listened back to the podcast and thought to myself, you know what? Like, there was a moment last week, Jack kind of put me in my place a bit. We are doing well. We're joint top of the league at the moment. We need to be, we are showing some consistency, like you say, we've won 5 on the bounce. There is the worry, like you say, we have in the past been a Jekyll and Hyde team. If we lose at Dortmund, at Munich, knacker ourselves out in the process, then get stuffed by them lot down the road, well, we won't get stuffed by them, but if we lose to them, and then head into the international break, potentially we're looking at, could our confidence change and our form change just based on that? That's my worry. Until it happens, I'll maintain that we do look good at the moment despite our injuries, but again, every season they're mounting up. Interesting stat for you here, Neil, because I know you like a load of stats.
Do like my stats, Paul.
Since 2010, Arsenal have had more players miss games through injury than Chelsea, Liverpool and United combined.
Is that true?
Yes.
I say, yeah, probably Chelsea and Liverpool, but then United have had a pretty rubbish track record of late anyway.
Well, don't forget that Abu Dhabi will be in that statistic as well. But
yeah.
I saw a whole host of things online after Ox and Theo got injured against Wednesday. And there's all kinds of stats like, the top 10 injured Premiership players in the last however many years. And we had 3 or 4
Shad was getting absolutely battered on social media on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had... you think about people like Gibbs, who've missed so many games. Rizicki's injured a lot. Ramsey, Wilshere, Ox, Theo, every year. Koscielny's been injured a lot as well. He's had a lot of different injuries.
And maybe, are you saying Mertesack's related with his illness?
I wasn't suggesting that at all. But, I can't put my finger on it. I mean, none of us can. We can speculate as to why it happens. We can talk about...
I don't. What I can't understand is why we've got, one of the best medical coaches from Germany, not medical coaches, medical doctors that came in from the German World Cup side of 2010, I think, 2012. And since he's arrived, and our problems have got worse. I think that I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to say that our injuries have been shorter, but there's been more of them.
The thing is, Neil, I mean, the way I look at it, with the squad we have, I believe we can win the Premiership this season, but we need more players to stay fit. If we are in a position with a squad that we've got now, where we've got 7 midfielders injured, I'm classing Welbeck as a midfielder just for argument's sake. We've got 7 midfielders injured. We cannot maintain the consistency and the form we're showing at the moment with that many injuries and without reserve players to call upon, because people are going to get tired. And I'm now, by the way, Jermaine Genius's biggest fan, because I'm actually the day this week he said he thinks Arsenal are going to win the league this year.
So did Gary Lineker. So
So
on Twitter at least.
But the fact that pundits and people are starting to, recognise
Jermaine Genius, Paul. Goodness me.
Yeah, I know. But people are starting to recognise the fact that actually the league table doesn't lie. And I've always said this: the best team always wins the league. The league table doesn't.
I don't think we've got the best team. That's what I'd say to you.
But like we said last week, I'd say the only team that has been better than us, arguably, so far this season is Man City. Man United sure haven't.
No, well, they can't score a goal, so it kind of helps if you can score goals.
I mean, we don't even talk about Chelsea in these circles anymore.
Well, no one could have predicted what could be happening at Stamford Bridge right now. Nobody.
No, but like we said last week, who else is there? I mean, you would say at the moment that we're in second position and that's the place we should be in. Who's to say between now and the end of the season, if we have a fit enough squad and if we show consistency and continue to get results, who says that our team isn't better than Man City's team?
Well, in terms of quality and depth, definitely Man City's is stronger. With a full team starting.
Yeah, it is on paper, but also, Chelsea's team on paper is a very strong team, and arguably is better than ours. So if those players don't perform,
fair point.
You can't say that we don't deserve to have double the points that Chelsea have got at this moment in the season, because we do.
I can't fathom how the team that Chelsea were last season is just the team that they are now. Okay, with Costa, there's a couple of things. With Costa, I can get that basically teams have worked out how to play him now, and he's just getting frustrated, and he doesn't get the ball a lot. I think he doesn't get a lot of the ball because Fabregas is having a poor time with it. But us as Arsenal fans know that he has those dips in forms.
Yeah.
And now he's older. The best years are behind him. I think we probably got the best years of his career. Perhaps.
Yeah.
the two that when he went to Barcelona he was pretty good then, but then he was wasted. He was playing as a striker, for goodness sake, or or however.
My point is, Neil, is that at the end of the season, my whole point about the league table doesn't lie. Is at the end of the season, the team who has played best throughout the season wins the league. Now, it doesn't matter to me if on paper we're the third best team in the league or the fourth best team in the league. If we played the best football throughout the season and got the best results, then we deserve to win the league. We were the best team that season. It's as simple as that for me. So all I'm saying is, there is no reason why we can't win that league. I actually believe, on paper Man City have got a better team than us, but I don't think they look better than us this year. And I know they're missing Silva and Aguero, and I know that'll make a massive difference when they come back. But you could also argue we're missing 7 players. So it swings and roundabouts really. But all I'm saying is, I believe we can win it. Certain things need to go our way. But I think the injury part is a key of it, because I think in previous seasons where we've had half the season where we've been poor and then half the season where we've improved and managed to scrape 4th place season upon season, we've often wondered about how our seasons would have ended. I mean, the super season that Aaron Ramsey had, was it 2 seasons ago, where he was by far the best player in the Premier League till he got injured. I mean, you wonder about, before he got injured, what would our season have become then? So it is crucial for us, is all I'm saying.
Where have we heard that before?
Yeah.
Okay, all good points. I can't remember what I was going to say. What I would say is with City, I think, just to close that little subject, I think Silva and Aguero are far higher impact players than, say, I love Ramsey and Welbeck when he's fit, but they don't have the sort of instantaneous impact that those two would. I think when they get them fit, that could be, it's different getting them all to knit together on the pitch, because when Silva's back, De Bruyne is a completely different animal. And as we saw probably against Norwich, there was the key man that won them the game, and that was Yaya Toure. The week before it was Kevin De Bruyne, and the week before that was Raheem Sterling, and the week before that was Kevin De Bruyne. So there's a rotation, but so it's working for City at the moment. But when they get them all to fit together, they won't necessarily click. So we'll see. Okay, going back to the defensive side, a little thing that I saw, and again, I haven't seen most of the game, but I've looked at the stats after the game, and complete passes and tackles, and it seemed like Monreal was more effective than Bayern on Saturday at the Liberty. So I'm liking this chemistry that Bayern and Monreal have, even though they're on opposite flanks, opposite sides of the pitch, and they're away from each other, because their position is important to each other's role. And it seemed to me like it was Monreal who was more attacking this week, and Bayern was sitting back doing the covering role, as you were saying with Gomez. And I'm finding that's kind of, it's a little bit strange, but it's quite a key thing. I'm liking that.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice it watching the game, to be honest. I have noticed, I would say, as a counter.
But what was I saying is that it's kind of like a perfect. Those two are performing like a perfect holding midfielder, or two centre midfielders, or say, I don't know, two attacking centre backs. And say, well, okay, I've gone up. Say Cristiano gets the ball and say, I'm going to have a bit of run, you stay back, somebody else covers. And it seems like that might be what's happening. So there's like a constant equilibrium in the team. I think that's really important.
Yeah, it is, I'd agree. There's also a lot of times though when both fullbacks are really high up the pitch. And I think we've seen that in a lot of recent games. They are, but I think it's true to say they're both quite positionally aware. And you will know that when Monreal first became an Arsenal player, I forever was criticising his positional awareness. when he first started at left back, and it wasn't great. And I remember seeing replays of goals and just seeing where he was and just thinking, Christ, you shouldn't be there. You know.
Yeah, for real.
Pardon me. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is important, and you're right. It's important all over the pitch. It's important between Koscielny and Mertesacker. It's important between Cazorla and Coquelin. So yeah, that is a positive point. Yeah, I agree.
It sounds really. Yeah, non-committal as per usual, Paul. Lovely. Okay, next thing, Mesut Ozil.
Yes.
I'll just carry on talking about him for the next.
I've got Jack here for backup.
The next 10 minutes. Yeah, you're outnumbered this week, Sunshine. Well, you're not.
Well,
but
interestingly, there was a post on the Arsenal Facebook group this afternoon. Most assists in Europe this season.
Yep.
Number 1, Mesut Ozil. Number 2, Santi Cazorla. I mean, that made lovely reading.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad at all. Neil, there's not much to add with Mesut Ozil.
He's got 9 assists already. 9 assists in 11 games. This is just league games we're talking about.
Yeah,
he had 10 in his whole entire season, in his first season, which was his best. He had 7 last season. So he's 1 away from his record, from tying his record. And we've still got, how many games is it? 37? No, 27. Yeah, 27.
Yeah, you know what, Neil? That's brilliant. And like I said last week,
it's phenomenal.
His
best. His best assist record was 17 in 2011-12. Obviously for Real Madrid.
Like I said to you last week, he needs to keep doing that. That's what we paid £42 million for. That's what I expect. And the fact that he's doing it now is fantastic. It doesn't matter how many weeks in a row you bring up Mesut Ozil, I will not retract anything I said previously, because I believe, and I still believe at the time, that I was right to say those things. Now, this stat is not one of your pre-assist stats. This is a proper assist stat. This is, like I say, what we bought him for, what the fans expect. And the fact that he is assisting...
I'll tell you what, if it was pre-assist, he'll have like 20 by now.
Let your pre-assist go, my friend. But, like I said to you last week briefly, the fact that he is providing these assists and getting involved in games, look at our turnaround in fortune compared to last season. We're effectively joint top of the league. So it is having an impact on our form, on our league table standing. And that's what I expect from him. So good on him and keep going. Like that's all there is to say. Really, as far as I'm concerned.
You still sound quite begrudging, but I'll let it go for this week.
I'm not begrudging, Neil. This is what I want from Mesut Ozil, and it is fantastic that he is playing this way. Just like Jack said last week, the whole team has been playing well, and what I want, when I'm completely convinced by him, will be when we're 1-0 down at a dodgy away ground somewhere, and we need someone to grab us by the scruff of the neck, just play a kick ball through, turn the game around. That is when I will think, yes, finally he's delivering what I expect him to deliver.
Let's not forget
that at the start of this season, Wenger came out and said Ozil is now completely on board. So that tells me for the last 2 seasons he wasn't 100% focused. Now why that is beyond me. Possibly the way he's been managed, I have no idea. But whatever has changed this season and in the last few games, brilliant. Whatever's happened, brilliant. It should have happened sooner. I'm willing to let that go if his continued form propels us to a league title.
Okay, yeah, just are you suggesting this dodgy away ground is the Allianz Arena on Wednesday night? Just, just mixing it up a bit.
It could be. I mean, if he has a stormer on Wednesday night, then, I'll be the last person to criticise him after that. I don't know what to expect from Wednesday night, if I'm honest. I'm really not sure what to expect.
I'm going to come to this because we're going to wrap things up here in a little bit. So I want your prediction. In fact, no. Before we do that, I want Özil. So he's got 9 assists. Yeah. His record is 17. We think can he get 18? He should do it at the moment.
I expect him to now.
20 assists this season.
Why not?
That would be incredible. 20 assists.
What did you say he's got? He's got 9 at the moment.
He's got 9 at the moment.
From 11 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no reason why. If he doesn't provide another 11 assists, I'll be disappointed. I don't think that's wrong to expect that much. Now that he's shown us what he's capable of, and now that he's used to his teammates around him, and he's used to their runs and how they play, there is no reason why he can't get 20 assists. None at all.
That'd be phenomenal. 20 assists, that'd be phenomenal. And whilst we think about that, so Bayern prediction.
I'm going to be optimistic here and say 1-1. I'm going for the draw.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with 2-2 again.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Neuer's not infallible, as he showed, and despite we've certainly got a thinner squad going into the game, and I don't know, a draw's. Let's be honest, all results are dangerous because we'd still be probably battling for third realistically.
The whole Champions League situation is dangerous because of our first 2 games. I think you're right. Win, lose or draw against Bayern, we're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. What do you know what I mean?
I just don't want us to go. I wanted to mention this last week, but I forgot. I just don't want us to go to Greece, where we've got a terrible record, and God forbid get injuries, and if we lose in Greece and it means we're completely out of Europe, fantastic. But I don't want us just to go there and just, I don't know. I'm a bit concerned about it. So I think 2-2. We both think draws then, end of the day.
I think that's I don't know if we can get another win out there. I think it's a tall order. I mean, if we do, that'd be absolutely phenomenal.
Back-to-back wins,
better
phenomenal.
Than the first one if we get a win away.
Like I say, I mean, you can. I don't want us. I'm kind of thinking I don't want us to win, but I do want us to win. But I don't know. More of us wants me to just put an amazing performance and lose. I'll be very happy with that.
I'm not sure. We'll wait and see what happens.
But I don't think we're capable of that. I think we'll let them have the ball quite a lot. I think we'll be fine with that. We'll see how much they can probe and see if they can penetrate us, and then again we'll just play on the counter attack with Alexis, and we'll see what happens. We don't have a lot of pace other than that, really. I don't think, unfortunately. So it could be quite different game, especially if Giroud's struggling, which I get the feeling he'll be quite isolated. But we'll see. And obviously the derby next weekend, boys and girls. That lot down the road coming to visit us.
Do you know what, Neil? I'd feel a lot more comfortable if the derby was before the Bayern game. Just don't know what to expect from the derby, and I think it may hinge on what happens on Wednesday night. We should beat them based on how they're playing this season and how we've been playing.
Spurs are about to kick off in 5 minutes, so I think they're unbeaten since the start of the first day of the season when they lost to Spurs by the single goal.
They lost to Spurs, did they?
Man United, sorry. My brain was thinking one thing, my mouth responded as it does with something else. They're not a great side, Neil. They're not. It's not one of the best Spurs, even the best Spurs sides we've seen in the last few years. It's not, but it doesn't. They've got one of the better coaches they've had, and the coach that has actually gelled them together. And because he's a good coach, Pochettino, he's not like just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, but do you know what? Like, they don't worry me. They don't worry me anymore. Not like a few seasons ago when it looked like they were going to tip us for fourth and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, if we turn up, we can beat them. It's as simple as that. It's Tottenham, forever in our shadow, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And they are still in our shadow. And it depends on us as to whether we get a result against them. It's as simple as that, as far as I'm concerned. They don't bother me. Who are they? They're, do you know what I mean? They're not important. Why are we discussing them?
Paul, what do you call Tottenham? No, don't. Okay. I think I'll go 1-0 for us. 1-0 us.
I'll go for 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
More convincing than a 1-0.
Disagree. I think 1-0 is more convincing than 3-1.
Well, yeah.
From a defensive point of view.
Yeah, arguably.
And
we'll see.
We'll see indeed. And on that note, we look forward to what could be a pivotal week in Europe. Thanks for listening once again. You can join us on the Facebook group, the E-Arsenal Facebook group. That's E-Arsenal, obviously on Facebook.
The quickly growing Facebook group.
Well, it's absolutely it's exploding into life, which is very good news, very exciting. And obviously you can get us both on Twitter. You can get us more generally at E_ArsenalNet, all one word. And Paul?
You can get me on Twitter at Padelski85. That's at PRADELSKI85.
And you can get me, your host Neil Leverett, at the91st Neil. That's at the91STNEIL. And please be kind to both of us. Well, all three of us. Thanks once again for listening. I've been Neil, your host, and we look forward to your company after the derby. Come on, you Reds!